All right, here we go again.
Rolling.
Rolling into a new episode. Uh, this is the week that we've been waiting for, Griz-Cat week. That is how you say it, Griz-Cat week, uh, as Angel will tell you. So, man, we are going to recap. Gosh, can't even talk. The Eastern Washington game, guys, and then we will go into a breakdown of the Griz-Cat game and what we think. Give some questions from fan questions and give our predictions. So, but before that, we got Grizz updates.
Grizz updates. We gotta go through the Grizz updates. We can't forget them.
Exactly. You know, I need to make like a song or something like that introduces Grizz updates. That would be sweet.
Well, you
all
work
right.
on that, Adam. You let me
I
know when
will.
you get there.
I will. I will. So let's go right into it because one of the Grizz updates went final because it was an 11 o'clock game. The women's basketball team played today against Providence, which it was like Lady Grizz School Day, which was like basically kids get to go to it. And Lady Grizz pummeled the Providence. I don't know what they're called, Providence something. But it was kind of cool. It had all these kids from different schools around Missoula come to the game. And so they won 71-43. And so, yeah, a pretty crazy shellacking. But they do play this Sunday, in Missoula at 2 p.m. You guys can catch it on the ESPN Plus versus North Dakota. And so playing another, I think it's like the Val is it? I think it's the Summit League that they play in. They played North Dakota State earlier this year and lost a heartbreaker by 3. And so go check that team out. They're going to be really fun to watch this year. And so yeah, next one is men's basketball. Whoops, I got a couple of them here. Sorry, I got to figure out which one I need to do first. So they play Friday. No, Thursday. Thursday. Where's Thursday? No, that's not the right one. Sorry. I'll get it under control. Here we go. They play Friday against Merrimack. It is at 7:30. So this is the second annual Zootown Classic.
Well, they play Thursday too, don't they?
I believe they played Thursday, but I thought it was because I have Friday, Saturday, and.
Well, I see a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We got St. Thomas, Minnesota, or MN, I think. And then Merrimack, and then Troy to
yeah. So I missed St. Thomas. Sorry about St. Thomas. So Thursday.
Come on, Adam.
I know. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah.
I know. So yeah. So Thursday they play the 7:30 game against St. Thomas. Then they play the next night against Merrimack at 7:30. All these games, if you can't make it to Missoula, you can get them on ESPN Plus. And then Troy, they played Troy, which is going to be kind of an interesting game because Troy last night beat Florida State. And they went down to Tallahassee, and beat Florida State in their arena. So go check them out this weekend, Thursday through Saturday. And then they also have a game on Tuesday. So against MSU Northern right before Turkey Day. And so you've got chances to go see some Grizz basketball, go support the guys, and yeah, basketball, man.
Yeah, that's the nice part about it, man. Just having ESPN Plus, having that type of access. I mean, It just changes the game that you can enjoy sports, especially at the Big Sky level, and obviously being at Montana too. So if you guys can check them out, every eyeball helps. Support, prayers, all those sort of things go a long way. So.
Exactly. And then volleyball. If you have not, oh man, I totally watched it. It was a great
I watched
match.
it too. I watched it too.
3-1 shellacking of the Montana State.
What is this
Bobcats.
word? What's shellacking?
Shellacking? I don't know. I like it. Shellacking.
Is that an old head term? What is that?
And what? An old
head
what?
Old head term?
I don't know. Are you calling me
kid type of thing?
Are you calling me old?
You're older than me, man.
No, I don't know. A shellacking means like a beat up, like a you beat them bad. A shellacking.
Yeah. I never heard of shellacking, but okay, cool.
Shut up, Angel. Shut up.
I'm not getting. I like it. I like it, Adam.
So we swept them this year, which is always awesome to see. That I think they have like a trophy, and I need to get caught up on it because it's a Bell trophy.
Yeah, we do.
And then don't they call it like the Continental Divide Trophy or something like that?
Oh, I know that's what they call. No, I don't know what it would be called. I don't know if theirs is different from ours.
I think it is. I think it's different. Anyways, they played amazing. Volleyball is incredible to watch because those ladies can seriously hit that ball.
The mainline trophy.
The mainline. No, see? Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder why it's a Bell then.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. Maybe we need to have Coach Lawrence on and have her answer that question for us.
Oh yeah, we will.
Like why it's a Bell.
Yeah. Because ours is the Great Divide Trophy. I knew theirs wasn't the same, but I was like, I had to double check.
You would think it would be the same, though, right? It's the same.
No, I don't think so, man. I don't think so. I think it has to be different.
Okay. Anyways, well, we the volleyball team killed them, not shellacking, but killed them 3-1, swept them. They also played this Thursday against in Pocatello against Idaho State, and then they close out in Ogden. And so they're wrapping up. These are the last two games of the Big Sky Conference schedule, and then they will go into the tournament. And so which is really nuts is they can finish anywhere from being the 2 seed to the 5 seed within these last two games. So really go support them, watch them on ESPN Plus if you can. And yeah, so they're not going to be home. That was their last home game of the season because they're going to go straight into these away games. They're going to go into the Big Sky Conference tournament, which is, I don't think, in Montana. I know it's not in Montana. And so they're not going to be home, but you guys can keep on watching and supporting them by watching them on ESPN Plus.
Mm-hmm. And Coach Lawrence said exactly the thing that she kind of predicted early in the year. You know, she says, my whole goal is just to get more wins from last year. Really kind of grow on it. She said, if there's any year to do it, it's this year. And so she's done exactly that. But as far as how far they can go, it's up to them. You know, it's really up to them. So we're hopeful. Be sure to check them out, ESPN Plus. And let's see if we give other teams some shellacking.
A shellacking. That's right. I'm never gonna live that down.
That's the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life.
After this, I am totally gonna go look up shellacking, and I'm gonna text you the definition.
That has to be a Montana thing, brother.
Oh man. Well, did you hear the news, man?
What news?
Game day is coming to Los Angeles.
Oh hell yeah! I heard that news. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Well, I've got two sides to it. I'm kind of pissed off. Like when I first heard it, I was pissed off. Like that they didn't come to Missoula.
Why were you pissed off?
Because they didn't come to Missoula last year, and I understand why, that they had not better teams. I would say they had more of a teams that could generate more viewership, right? It's all about.
But I think that they knew that they fucked up from last year. I think. They made a mistake.
Oh yeah, I think they.
Who was it that they wanted to go see over us? Do you remember?
It was. I do because they're my second team. Michigan State and Ohio State. So
that's what it was.
And they went to Columbus twice that year. So it was, and it was a huge blowout. Yeah, not even a close game. So yeah, I was the first couple of days, and I'm a little kind of rough around the edges right now about it, but I understand that it's going to be good for the conference. It's going to be good for Montana State. Hopefully, it'll be good for us because
do you know if we've ever had a game day in a big high school?
No, this is the first one.
This is the first one. Yeah. I will say this, and this is my opinion. This is truly my opinion. I feel like I'm not just being a fan. I do think that the Griz helped generate a lot of that attention last year. And I think they realized, hey, you know what? We might have made a mistake going to, the Ohio State game. I think we should have went over there. Obviously, the atmosphere was electric last year in the stadium.
Yeah.
That is one thing that I'm really sad about. I think, don't get me wrong, I think the neighbors have, a pretty decent place to play, but it does not even come close to the type of stadium that we have.
No.
And I wish they were coming over here simply because they would realize, okay, this is a happening place. We need to be here more often. There needs to be more coverage, Well,
the only thing is now is, we're not gonna get it for a while, right?
I think it's gonna be a long while.
Yeah.
Long while.
So the only thing that will help us get it is if everybody shows out, right? So we've got to have and it's both Cats and it's both Griz fans. So everybody has to go, right? No matter what side.
Oversell this game?
What's that?
You think as a stadium capacity?
They're already sold out.
I know, but do you think you oversell? You think you oversell it as a university just to try to entice people to go tailgating or be in the general facilities, like the general area?
I would totally do it. I like you need as many people as you can to get that screenshot of, hey, they've got 20, 30,000 fans here. Like if you get that kind of a crowd coming to game day, they're gonna be like, wow, well, this is something.
Yeah, we need to be here more often.
We need to be doing this more often. So the only time that this is going to help, like something that we do for the Cats that's going to help us in the long run, is if we go support that, so that they'll come to Missoula.
Well, let's put something up, Adam. We don't call them we don't call them that C word. We call them the neighbors.
Or can we say kittens?
I don't know, man. I feel like neighbors is even more disrespectful. It's not an acknowledgement to them being around. You know what I mean?
Neighbors.
The neighbors.
Okay. The neighbors. I'll say the neighbors. Okay. So I just think that that's the only way that we'll be able to have a chance to get it to Missoula, I think. Because and I heard Riley say this, that a couple of the things that had them come to Bozeman is that the fact that it's a really high ranked team, and also just basically being able to get to Bozeman because it's Los Angeles, that they're able to get flights in there, and they weren't.
Let me ask you this:
Yeah,
do you think the show Yellowstone? You think somebody was like, somebody that works at ESPN was like, you know what? I just started watching Yellowstone. I love that show. And by the way, I don't know how I feel, man. I like the show, but I hear a lot of local people that are like born and raised here. They absolutely despise it. I know the locals from Bozeman are really hating the show right now, but I think ultimately, I like the freaking show, man. I have to say it.
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard. I've heard. I've watched it a little bit. I just haven't gotten into it. But
dude, I got asked to be an extra one time.
Did you really?
Yeah, but I had to go to work, so I said no.
Oh, nice.
And then I get to work and they're like, you dumbass, you should have just be on the show. And I was like, damn, dog, like, sorry, I feel like I have a responsibility here at work, but all right, next time.
There you go. Hey, I'll go right now. Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens, see how many people shout out, see how many Griz fans are there, right? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. And
I think we're going to travel really well. The only thing is that we're in a tough place because everybody already bought their tickets at the beginning of the year. Obviously, who has first pick of the litter? The neighbors do. So because of that, it's kind of tough, and especially now knowing that we have College Game Day going to this game. To be like, okay, well, now I'm going to clear my schedule. If it was, weeks ago, months ago, may have been a different story. I mean, we would have packed that house out 100%. I think all 30,000 of our fans, if they could, they'd make the trip.
Oh yeah, I would totally go. I can't afford the ticket though, man. I've heard tickets are up to $1,400.
Jeez,
people are charging them. You can't get them on.
Dude, that's what I need to get
on the neighbor website. Sorry,
I need to get into the
neighbor website
to the ticket business. There's so much money. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
For an entry.
Yeah.
Damn. I still got a little bit of pull at the university. Maybe I go steal some tickets to go sell them.
There you go. There you go.
I'm just kidding. I would never do.
No, you wouldn't sell them. You would go. You would go, Angel. You'd give one to me, and we'd both go.
Yeah, I'd say one for me and you, and then the rest I'd be like, well, shit, how much do you love the Griz? You know what I mean?
Exactly. Let it
I'm
rain.
kidding, everybody. I would never do that. I'm kidding.
I would.
Oh, you dog. You dog, Adam.
Hey, if I got
Dog.
my ticket, you might as well make some money too, right?
Yeah, I guess you're right, man.
Hey, if they're gonna charge, that much, and then what I also heard that hotel rooms are upper in the $400-$500 range too.
It's Los Angeles, man. Everything there is so much more expensive. This past summer, I had to go to Bozeman to go work a show out there because they were having it like at the mall or something like that. So I had to go work it. And so I went out there, and it was the first time in my like 8 years that I lived here that I've ever been and spent money in the neighbors. That's how big this rivalry is. Bobby, obviously known to have displeasure with them. I do think at the end of the day there is a lot of respect between the two coaches and the programs, simply because we're at a special place where we're both really freaking good. So it makes it fun for fans, but the rivalries mean so much more. It is something that at the beginning of the year we start talking about it, and we always have it in the back of our minds. Like, for example, when I played, we had a clock, and as soon as as soon as the season was over, they would reset the clock for 365 days until we played them again that following year. Everybody else was on a week-to-week situational basis, but we made sure that the clock was up there. So we knew, hey, there's 364. There's 2 months left. There's a week left, 2 days left, simply because he always wanted to know, like, hey, this is the biggest game that we have. This is a rivalry. All Eastern Washington, whatever else you would consider a rivalry, Idaho, in our minds, we didn't give two shits about those teams. We wanted to go out there and play, the neighbors. And so that's how big this thing is, just on a really foundational level, so people understand it's the big one. And especially with so much being on the line, it takes it to a whole nother level.
Exactly. So yeah, if you guys can, go support it, go support game day, go support the Griz, shout as loud as you can, F2C if you want. My thing is I want it to look good so they come back. If they're gonna say, if the Cat fans are gonna say ESG, how is that gonna look?
No, they are.
How is that gonna look, dude?
There's never been a year. There's never been a year where I have not heard that. So
it's just,
I think their fans are a lot more aggressive than ours. I know we're not perfect by any means, so let me preface it by saying that. But 100%, I think they're the worst crowd to be around. Yeah, and like they hit you with points that like, oh my, like weird ones too. Like don't make sense. Like for example, like I remember one of my friends that we played on the team with, Cody Meyer. Yeah. So we played together, and we were young ones. I think we were our freshman year, and we drove over there to see them play. And so we spent a weekend. We drove over there, and he is, in the grand scheme of things, he's about 6'3", 270, 280 at the time, decent size, but he's short. He's 6'3", in the grand scheme of what football players are. And I remember, like, he was walking on the field, and I just had fans being like, hey, number 50, you're short. And for whatever reason, like he did a pouty face. He was like, damn, why do you have to do me like that? Like that one actually hurt my face. Like, so they hit you with just unorthodox, like, short insults. Yeah, you're short. You're the smallest guy out there. And he looked at us. He was like, damn, that one actually hurt, bro. Like, I gotta go back inside. Now, they're an interesting fan base. They're pretty aggressive all the way around the field, no matter what part that you're playing on. Yeah. And yeah, man, and they get rowdy for sure. They do not like us, and it's all been brewed and bred. We started this fire a long time ago, before I was born, and so this is just how it is over here, and that's what we like. That's what we look forward to.
121 it will be this year. So, so yeah, I loved the video. Did you see the video that the Griz put out? The 73, 41, and 5.
Oh yeah, with the players.
No, with the players. That was awesome.
Yeah,
that was cool.
That was cool, man. I mean, this is the year, big 74.
74.
That was the game that I played, or that was the number that I played in college. I needed to have it. I needed to have it. I'm buying everything 74. Everything 74 this year.
Nice. Hey guys, we're gonna go into. You want to recap the Eastern Washington?
Yeah, we'll spend a couple minutes. I feel like we need to spend a couple minutes there, but it really is a lopsided win. We beat
Yeah.
the shit out of them. They crawled back into the hole where they came from, and
Oh
we
my
called
gosh.
it a day. We called it a day.
Yeah. Well, and let's just go on the offense. You know, Osmo, you know, continued his
Dude,
outpour
4
of
touchdowns in
yards.
the first half.
Exactly. And he didn't play in the second half. Just creating holes. The offensive line created holes. He ran through them amazingly, and it was awesome to see him getting kind of a groove. And I think that we are kind of been saying that this whole season is, you know, with them using so many running backs, uh, is it going to harness a guy getting going? And I think these last couple weeks, you know, preface that these teams are the worst teams probably in the Big Sky, in Cal Poly and Eastern Washington.
Which is a
Run
weird thing to say when it
run
comes to
wise,
Eastern.
run wise,
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
and run defense. Cal Poly is the worst team in the Big Sky, um, but Eastern Washington, I just thought they would have put up a little bit more of a fight. They definitely did not, which that's fine with us. We got a lot of guys in, which was awesome to see on offense. Britt got his first passing touchdown and his first running touchdown. Eli Gilman, shout out to him, got his first rushing touchdown
That kid's going to be
on his
special.
second carry, dude. On his second carry.
That kid is going to be good.
Oh my gosh, dude. Rushed for 337 yards, 267 passing, 604 yards total. That's, you know, the second time we've gone over 600 yards in the last 2 games. And so, you know, I think the fan base is going to be feeling good going into this game, but I don't know. I'm going to be that person and just say, I'm going to preface it. Hey, let's see it against a quality team, right? We have not seen it against a quality team. We saw it in Sac State, right, for a quarter, and then Lucas got hurt, and then it was kind of we made it through, right, and we tried to pull off a win that was going to be hard to get to. Weber State, we had a hard time getting anything going, and so it'll be interesting to see what we can do against this neighbor team that we are going to be playing. Their defense isn't as good as last year, so we'll get into that later. But what were your thoughts on the offense against Eastern Washington?
You know what? Really, these past 2 games have been huge for the confidence of the team. I think when you really kind of look at it, it was to be expected that we were going to perform this ways.
Yeah.
Coming off a 3-game losing streak, it was nice to have these games. I think it kind of gave faith in a lot of those players and kind of reminded them, hey, don't let anything else that has happened phase you. We're a really good football team. We just need to go out there and have a couple of these games to really kind of feel it and understand it and spark a little bit more belief. You know, I think it's really tough to stay up when you're just losing games back to back to back, especially against good teams, especially, you know, 2 of them being on the road, and then you know, being in a position where you're just fighting to stay alive in the playoffs right now. Ultimately, I thought the performances were going to be as expected. Did I think that they were going to score that many points? Probably not. My prediction kind of speaks for itself on that. But still, they came out there and they took it to the next level. You know, they were really kind of dominant on all phases of the game. That one touchdown they gave out, I mean, it was against our third stringers at that point. You know, so because of that, it wasn't anything that I felt that we were lacking in any certain type of regard. Offensive line looked good. There was one play that really sticks out to me. You know, obviously being a student of the game, there was one of the plays, I think they had a little swing route or something like that, or wheel route to Osmo, and then you just see these 2. I think it was McGinnis and Walker take this dude, you know, like 15, 20 yards down the line. And I just started having flashbacks of those are the things that you have on your highlight reel. Those are the things that you look back over and over and be like, you know what, that was so much fun. You know, to be able to impose your will on another man like that and drag him, you know, down the field with you and saying, hey, you know what, I'm not letting you go until this play is done because we're going to score on you. It's a special things. And so QB play was solid too. I did see Lucas go down a little bit. At the end of his little stint. Honestly, in a game like that, up 35, you know, up 35-0, take him out. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I mean, it's just at the point where it's just like, okay, you show you understood the playbook this week.
Yeah.
Good for you. Let's get some of those younger guys in. Again, we're just going back to what we said a couple of weeks ago, just the continuing the development of those quarterbacks. It just plays to their benefit. You know, at that point in time, you know that they're just going to roll over, and you saw it in their body language.
Oh
the
yeah,
shoulders were slumped. You know, they were sighing, they're humming and hawing, and just kind of ready to get out of there. I mean, even after that first series, you could tell it's going to be a long day for these guys. So ultimately, I was happy with their performance, to say the least.
So, one thing that kind of was glaring to me is third down conversions were, as much as we dominated that game, we were only 4 of 10 on third down and 3 of 4 on fourth down. So it was kind of worries me a little bit just because, with how we played, you would think that, the conversions on third down would be a little bit more. But, thus we probably went for it on those ones that we didn't make it on fourth down to get it. But it just that kind of was something that kind of stood out to me. But also just, we lose Lucas Johnson. And this is a question for you, Angel, because my thought process is, okay, we lose him. He kind of like runs, kind of jogs off, right? And comes back with crutches. That doesn't make any sense to me. I know why it was probably done and whatnot, but wouldn't you think if he was really hurt that you would have him in a bath or getting him somewhere where he's getting rehab if it's that bad, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't think
instead of having him out in the cold.
Yeah, I don't think he'd just be on crutches to be on crutches out there, so it obviously makes me believe that, he probably banged himself a little bit. He needed those crutches to kind of rely on. But ultimately, man, I mean, I'd be the same way, man. I think truly, if you have played the game, even if it was at the high school level, I mean, if you have any opportunity to be out there with your teammates, you're going to do it. I remember one time, Jesse Seams, rest in peace. He completely ripped off the skin from his finger, and so what was exposed were his bones, and so they had to stitch it all back and stuff like that. And he was, in and out, back and forth. He finished out the game. I'm pretty sure he finished out the game. It wasn't until they were like, no, you got to get the hell out of here, and we got to take you to go get stitched up and stuff like that, that he had to leave. But ultimately, he's just that type of guy that instilled, hey, I don't want to be here for it all. And especially when you think about it, you think about 11 week, schedule or 12 weeks, depending on the school that you go to the year. I mean, really, at the beginning of the year, you're like, okay, I've been waiting for this. And then the blink of an eye, you're on week 10. I mean, look at us right now. I mean, we're finishing up the game. And so if I'm going back to my senior year, junior year, sophomore year, I don't care, man. If I break my leg, I'm coming back out, Ultimately, it's probably the smart thing to start getting rehab and stuff like that, but being there for the team is so much bigger in my eyes. And I mean, it just shows that you the type of person that you are. And I think, that showed me that, hey, he wants to be out there regardless of the circumstances. We bleed, we sweat, we cry all together, man. And so, I mean, to me, I saw it as a good thing because it shows how invested he is in the program, as opposed to, the quarterback that they had last year for the Neighbors, going into a playoff kind of contender position, making a little bit of a run, but because things didn't go his way, he decided to transfer out. I don't know the situation. I'm not bashing him. Everybody has their own reasons, but ultimately, I see a little bit of a difference in character just off those simple actions. So because of that, I'm proud to have Lucas as a quarterback. And I really hope, if he's tweaked up a little bit, that he feels fine by Saturday to really kind of go make them earn anything that they could potentially get.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see, just going off of what happened last game, Brown did not get any reps. Britt did. So I would think off of that, then that would be Britt would be number 2 then, right? Would you think that too?
I mean, it's been kind of a crazy couple months, so, I think they're trying to do something to spark a little bit of a change as far as what their thought process is. Obviously, we don't know, but ultimately, things weren't working well. We needed to make a little bit of a change, so it's nothing against Chris. Like I said, I'm going to stand by him. time and time again and review him as a good guy and good player. But ultimately, I think bringing Daniel in was a little bit of a scary move because he's a younger guy. Obviously, you have Chris with a lot more experience, but I think it was the right move just to really kind of start to develop him early on in his career to get a little bit of that feel. Who knows what happens next year? That's too far away to tell. But I think it was the right move. I think it's going to play to our benefit, and I think who knows, depending on kind of the ups and downs that Lucas has had this year injury wise. I mean, we're gonna need somebody to come step up and see if they can win us some games.
Exactly.
And if it's Daniel, that gives us just a slight edge. The beautiful part about it is that I know Chris is gonna say, "Hey, you know what? That's the right move. Let's go win a damn football game, regardless of what happens." That's just the type of man that he is.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and if going off of injuries, we've got Bergen that missed the game last week. Hopefully, he's just kind of resting up. With his
I think
injury.
that's exactly what he's doing, man. I mean, it would be the smart thing to do.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be a little bit of a scare to see that guy run out in the field and be like, "Oh shit, you're playing today. All right, cool."
Yeah. Yeah. So Bergen's hurt. Lucas Johnson went down. O'Connell did dress and kind of warmed up, but didn't, take any hits. I would expect him being back this next game. And then also Cale Edwards. I didn't see Cale Edwards out there as well. I didn't see him out there. And then Marcus Knight wasn't out there. Also Harris. Harris wasn't even, he was out there, but he was in a jersey. I think he's hurt as well. Last game, I think he was kind of rolled up limp on his leg as well. So, so we've got some hurt guys. And I know this is the time of the year where probably everybody is hurt. It just kind of depends on what kind of percentage you are when you go out there.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're getting some guys back in the right time, where we can kind of make a run at this and see what happens. But it'll be interesting going forward. I wanted to address, the Marcus Knight, because I know the fan base. I hope you can be respectful, right, of a player that is still a young man, right? It has given way more than anyone probably could ever expect coming from an injury that he went through. I hope that you can realize that you shouldn't be getting your feelings hurt. You are a fan. This is a player's livelihood, right? If you want to look at it as college athletes, as this is their moneymaker, right? This is how they're going to get paid. This is how they're getting school paid, right? They have to look out for themselves. If coaches can do it, the players should be able to do it as well. And no matter what, we don't know the reasons, but you can look at the man and the person that Marcus Knight is, and you can realize that, hey, he's given way more than 110%, and say, you know what? Hey, thank you for representing University of Montana. We love you. We're going to miss you. But hey, we want you to do your best. We want you to be able to be successful, and just wish him well instead of downgrading him for what he's doing. Sorry, I'm getting kind of flustered just because it's not right, man. It's just not right for somebody that's given a lot.
Yeah, man, it's been a whirlwind a couple of weeks, whirlwind of a season for him when you kind of really think about it. I think ultimately when he began this journey this upcoming season, he was hopeful, which is why obviously he was still part of the program and he'd been pursuing it for the past 2 years. For whatever reason, he has, there's speculated rumors. I don't know if anything is officially out, that he might be entering the transfer portal. But we will see, kind of if that comes to fruition. But at the end of the day, like Adam said, at the end of the day, he's given everything he has. Yep. I've told stories where, in the off season, he's still hurt. I go to the gym after I'm done playing. I've been done playing football. I go to the gym late at night simply because I had stuff going on or I couldn't sleep, and I'll see his ass there, working out. What the hell are you doing here, Marcus? Oh, just trying to get better. Just trying to do a little bit more. just getting some work in right now, nothing crazy, because that was just a lifestyle. So he's giving absolutely everything he can to the school.
Yeah.
I just think ultimately, he might be just chasing, an opportunity that fits him a little better in one way, shape, or form. With how talented we are, beginning the season, we split up basically all the reps that we possibly could between 3 running backs.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah, if not more.
If not more, and they're all super talented in their own way, and then obviously Osmo's having a breakout kind of back end of the season. And I know he continues, the very best, or he wants to continue, the love for him and basically let him go do his thing, but ultimately he needs to make a decision for himself, especially since he has aspirations of, chasing the highest level of football. That's a dream and goal, We hate to see him, go, but at the end of the day, all we can do is be grateful for what he has done. And so, I'm a Marcus fan for life. I've played with him. I know him as a person. He's a weird ass dude, but I love him, dog. I love him. Oh my gosh, And all I can do is be grateful for our friendship and to know him and know that I'm gonna support him regardless of whatever happens or the route that he decides to chase. Because I know in his mind he's done a lot of thinking about it, probably a lot of prayers behind it too. And so all he wants is maybe a different opportunity, just to have a chance. And that's how we really can. That's why we do this. Just to have a chance. Just to have a chance. Not a lot of us make it, but there's some guys that are able to kind of get it done, and I truly believe that he's one of those guys.
Exactly. Well, let's move on to the defense real quick. Lights out, man. 102 rushing yards. 15 of those came in the first half, so a lot of those came in the second half. They had a 208 passing yards, which 145 of those were in the first half. So a lot of the not a lot of them were in the second half. They had 16 first downs with a total of 310 yards total for the whole game. One thing that kind of stood out to me, and we've said it too, is just Eastern Washington's body language. That after the first series, like you said, Angel, they're pretty packed in. And then also just only 2 sacks, right? Usually we're averaging around 3 or 4. And I think that kind of is without having Patrick, I think they're able to focus on a little bit more of the other guys around and not have to worry about this crazy man coming off the edge or coming through, which kind of opens up a lot of other people to get open where they're not having to focus or double team one guy. And so, not to say that they weren't getting pressure, because they were getting pressure on the quarterback. It was just not getting into the sack column as you would assume. But those are the things that kind of stood out for me on the defense. What was kind of stood out to you, Angel?
I mean, kind of like the same thing. I mean, you saw the type of demeanor that right off the jump, how we were coming to play. It was no funny business. We were there to get a job done. We let it be known. We stuffed them, and we stuffed them, and we stuffed them, and you saw it in their play, kind of diminish, over the span of, those couple hours or so. Ultimately, it's a debatable point, like you just said right now, that, hey, that Patrick's not in there right now. Just gives them an opportunity to see the whole of the defense maybe a little bit better. But ultimately, when we're kind of looking at it, that pressure is going to need to continue. I did see the pressure there. I just think they weren't able to get home for one reason or another. I think there was a lot of opportunities kind of missed. And so that's just the game of football. You're never going to be perfect. But yeah, man, I mean, ultimately another great performance by the defense. I mean, that's been the characteristics of who they are all year long. Make a lot of big plays, make a lot of big stops, and, make sure the team doesn't have a chance to score, especially if we can help it. We love that. You see the pursuit, you see the hustle, and that's what you can ask for that defense. But that is going to change this upcoming week for sure. We need to take it to a whole nother level, especially playing an offense like theirs right now.
Exactly. And well, let's get into previewing the neighbors, man.
You got it right, the neighbors.
The neighbors. I just changed that.
Oh, you did? Oh, man. I was like, damn.
So we're previewing the neighbors, man. 9-1, 7-0 in the conference. They have not lost a conference game. Their only loss came to the Oregon State Beavers. And so they played McNeese State their first game out 40-17. They played Morehead State They beat them 63-13. They went into Oregon State, got beat down by 40 points, 68-28. Then traveled to Eastern Washington, barely by the skin of their teeth, beat Eastern Washington 38-35. Beat UC Davis 41-24. Beat Idaho State 37-6. Beat Northern Colorado 37-14. Weber State they beat, which was a crazy game, 43-38. And then beat Northern Arizona, another crazy game, 41-38, and then creamed Cal Poly 72-28.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some things that you can kind of say, hey, we've played some of the same people, and so, but like Eastern Washington, that Eastern Washington team was a whole different team when they played them than when we played them, right? I would think. They were still beginning of the year. They thought, hey, we've only played like one FCS game because they had, they played Florida and Oregon in Eastern Washington. So they only had one game coming up to that game. They were winning until the last couple minutes of that game as well. So UC Davis, that's a good team. Idaho State, they creamed. Northern Colorado, they creamed. Weber State, it helps when you have a long snapper snap 4 footballs over their head and get 4 safeties.
That's right. Yeah.
Didn't do that for us. And then Northern Arizona, they were really lucky to get that win off.
I saw that game.
Oh my gosh, man! That pass that Malott threw on the run just heaved.
I got to give him that credit. Oh my gosh,
heaved it
rolling out that way, just over the defender right there. Take it for 60 yards or 70 yards or something like that. Something ridiculous.
Yeah,
that was crazy. I thought the game was over.
I did too.
It was over. I was like, "There's no way he pulls this shit off." And then, lo and behold.
Well, and he was on the run too because he had guys after him. And it looked like to me. I'm just gonna say he just threw it up and just prayed because that pass barely. I
don't know.
I don't know. It was close.
I mean, he was on the run as soon as he threw it. He was out of bounds already. After the throw, obviously, perfect placement, perfect ball, just enough lift to get over the defender. Yeah. I mean, I'm not usually one to be impressed like that, but man, I was like, dang, that was a special throw in order to keep them, kind of alive in that game. And so ultimately, it just, long story short, they are not a pushover team. No, they played a lot of good football this past couple weeks. If I'm being honest, I think this is probably one of the best, neighbor teams that we've had in quite recent years.
Really?
I think so.
Okay.
So, even when I played, I think we had some talented guys for sure, but I think these past 2 years, they've been, set the tone to be a little bit of a more aggressive team than traditionally what I had seen in the past. Not to say that they weren't good teams. Mm-hmm. I just think that they have the best team that they've seen, in the most recent years. I live within the 4, 5, 6 years or something like that, and that's just my opinion.
I think their offense is better. I think their defense is, coming from what they lost last year. Their defense isn't going to be the same. Losing Troy Anderson and Hardy and some of those guys. I don't think their defense is as
well.
Good
I guess
as last year.
You have a point. I think I was focused primarily on offense because that's what I played. I do think they're a little bit more electric on the offense this year than they were in previous years. But 100%, you're right. I do think last year they did have the better defense overall. Obviously they're playing under Coach. How do you say his name? Vegan. Yeah. Vegan. Dang. Yep. That's a terrible name, dog. And a state like Montana where everybody's just such a big meat eater. I know it's spelled Vigen or something like that, but dang, man, that's crazy. But moving forward. Oh my gosh. He's a really good coach. He really is. He came in.
He knows his stuff.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't like Coach Best over there at Eastern Washington that he came in coming off an awesome recruiting kind of cycle. They were a really top tier team, and they just put him in a position to be I think that was the year that they made it to the national championship and they lost. Ultimately, the program has been pretty consistent for the most part. This is kind of the anomaly of the year that they're not that great. Same thing with Coach Vegan. Put him in a position to be successful, and he's definitely running with it and having some fun with it. I mean, it's just one of those things. It's one of those things. So ultimately, all the way around, I think it's going to be a very exciting matchup.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a matchup because you've got the neighbors. I'm going to get it right, man. Basically, the number one offense versus the number one defense in the conference, right? The neighbors are the number one rushing, the number one scoring, and they have not allowed. They're number one in sacks against, right? So that they have not allowed too many sacks. The Griz are the number one defense, the number one in rushing, they're number one in scoring, they're number three in passing, and they're number one in sacks. So it's like this immovable force, man, right? The battle of the immovable force. Which one's going to be moved? It's definitely going to come down to, the line play of who wins up front. Their offensive line blows my mind. They've had, I think their whole right side has gotten hurt, and they just plug guys in, right? And they're still rushing for over 316 yards a game. It's amazing. So just to go into the numbers, guys, the neighbors rushing 316 yards a game, 189 yards passing. Total of they're averaging about 506 yards a game. Third down percentage 45%, fourth down 64%. They're getting 25 sacks, which they're the number 2 sack team right behind us. So they can get some sacks on the defensive side, and a lot of their 45 of 56 in the red zone, 36 of those have been touchdowns. Going off of that to what they're allowing, that's where I kind of feel optimistic is they're allowing 132 yards a game. They're allowing 241 passing yards, over 373 yards a game. And so that kind of lends me to say that this isn't their best overall team. This is their best offensive team by a long shot.
I think that's what I meant to say kind of when I break it down. Yeah.
And they have two quarterbacks that they use that are running quarterbacks. So, everyone knows Tommy Millat, right? He was hurt for a couple games, but he's had an overall a good year. Not a year where everybody thought he was going to be the Big Sky Player of the Year. I don't think he's going to get that. But he's 90 of a 155, 1,206 yards passing, 9 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He's only about 58% on his completion rate, but that's not where he gets his bread and butter, right? He gets it from running. 104 attempts, 705 yards, 7 touchdowns. He's averaging about 85 yards a game, which that's number 3 in the conference. And then you've got their backup quarterback, Sean Chambers, that transferred, I believe, from Wyoming. He's 40 of 68, 509 yards passing, 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, but he's getting, 82 attempts, 622 yards, 16 touchdowns, which is crazy. 16 touchdowns running.
Do you think Sean is the overall better quarterback? Do you think Sean should be playing?
Ooh, looking at the numbers, he's pretty much the same passing wise, right? They're both throwing 58. Sean Chambers has a little bit more. He's about 59% completion rate. He's got 6 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, with a little bit less of throwing, right? But man, 16 touchdowns running. He balled out when Tommy was not there, and literally saved that team. I don't think it really matters who's doing. Like if you look at their running backs, and let's get into their running backs, and I'll answer that question. Because their line is so good, I don't think it matters who's back there.
Mm-hmm.
And this is nothing against Tommy or anything like that, but you see it. They've had Afonso hurt the whole year, basically, right? They've had Elijah Elliott. I think that is Elijah Elliott, right? Yeah. Great back. Not the too much of experience, but he's filled in. He's gotten hurt. They've had some other guys that aren't really known, and so they've just been racking up rushing yards. So I don't know. My thought process is you put anybody behind that line, and you'll get what you get, right? What do you think, man?
You know what I think? Ultimately, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think Sean is obviously a talented quarterback in his own light. Obviously, Tommy is a really good quarterback too. I just would love to see, kind of Sean in there a little bit more consistently to, kind of have a little bit more of a battle against Tommy. Obviously, the system works for them, regardless of who they roll with. They're going to be able to get the job done. But ultimately, it's really going to depend on how well, like you said, how well our defensive line plays. But but also, excuse me, but also how well we can contain them. I mean, a lot of the runs, they roll out. If the pass isn't that they take off for, 15, 20, 25 yards, maybe a touchdown. And so ultimately, that's the reason why I ask. It's either going to be we can contain Tommy, and they might bring Sean in to see if he can stir up a little bit of a different look. But ultimately, Sean's going to do the exact same thing. He's going to follow the same protocol, the same script. It seems like they're a little bit of a different type of physique, but ultimately they can get the job done the same exact way. They have a little bit of passing, and then they try to torch defenses, with open lane for their quarterbacks to run. And I think that's kind of my thought process. I think that's going to be a huge, huge key to win. Who dominates up front? We've been consistent. Our defensive line has played some great football this whole year, but this is a game that really kind of matters because ultimately it doesn't matter what our record reflects. It doesn't matter if after this game we make it to the national championship and win one. If we don't win this game, then it's all for nothing. That's what makes a season so special is this game. And these guys have an opportunity to do it. We know how we played out last year. We were anticipating it. We were hoping for it. It had been too long since the Great Divide Trophy had been on our side of the fence, and we were able to get it back. But I just don't feel like, it's ready to kind of go to leave anywhere anytime soon. With the type of caliber of a football team, we've seen the highs, we've seen the lows. And if we can consistently play some really good football, give our defense a little bit of a break, give us an opportunity to, score a couple touchdowns, get up a little bit, I think there's no reason why we can't dominate this team, even with how talented they are. They're good. They're good, but they're beatable. Sure.
Yep. Well, and Griz fans got to go out there. They're gonna allow some rushing yards. So don't think that we're gonna hold this team to under 100 yards like we have been averaging, right? We didn't do that against Sac State and their man-child of running back. We let him go over 100 yards. So don't expect
Scataboo.
Yeah, Scataboo. There you go. Don't expect that we're going to limit these guys to overall, maybe less than 200 yards, hopefully. But we're going to have to make sure that we're bending, but we're not breaking, right? That's that kind of defense that we need right now. They're going to get their running, but hopefully we can contain it where they're not getting those huge plays, right? That's where it's going to come down to. Can our defense, control the line so that we can make sure that they don't have those long plays, those plays of 20 more, 30 more, 40 more, where they're getting those touchdowns right away. But man, it doesn't matter what running back they have. And I said, Elijah Elliott, 550 yards. Marquis Johnson, which I had to do a double take when I was looking at their stats. He's listed as a wide receiver, and I use him as a running back. He ran for 242 yards against Cal Poly.
And it's Cal Poly though, so
yeah, but like he wasn't even like one of the running backs that they ran. Like he has 320 yards on the season. 240 of it was on one game. Garrett Kuhn from Sheridan, Wyoming, so where I'm at, he's got 239 yards, and then Lane Subner. He's got 450 yards. I would expect Afonso to be back. I saw some videos of him on Twitter right before the Cal Poly game where he was running. pretty dang good for running. But it wasn't getting any pats on him. So it'd be interesting to see if they play him this game. Their wide receivers, they've got some really good wide receivers, a really huge wide receiver. But Willie Patterson, that's their go-to guy. 35 receptions, 503 yards, 8 touchdowns. And then they've got Ravi Alston. He's got 22 receptions, 315 yards, and a touchdown. He's 6'3", 205. So that's their big guy. And then their tight end, Trayton Pickery, 14 receptions and 208 yards. So it'll be interesting to see how our defense goes against this offense, right? We demolished them last year. I think that it's a different beast with these two quarterbacks. They're basically the same kind of, they're going to want to do kind of what you said, Angel, is they're going to want to do the same kind of thing. But it'll be up to our defense to stop them. And hopefully our offense can get us some room, right? Give us some breathing room.
That's really the ultimate goal, man. That really, really is. I mean, if you give our defense a little bit of break, I mean, you've seen how we play through the span of 4 quarters. We'll give it everything we got. And if we have just a little bit of rest, I mean, it gives us the upper hand against every single team. I mean, really, the one time where you really kind of saw us get tired was that Weber State game. You know, it was a whole lot of 3 and outs, not a whole lot of progression, not a whole lot of movement. And by the end of the game, they were a little bit tired, they're a little bit stiff, and I think we need to be productive on offense this week. We absolutely need to be productive on offense in order to make something work, which is why, Luke has been on the sideline in crutches last week. It's a big deal for everybody. Simply because we know to the level that he can potentially play. I mean, we've seen him do it week in and week out. Besides the Idaho game was a little bit uncharacteristic of him. But overall, when he's out there, you can tell that he leads the offense, that it changes a little bit. We get a little bit of a rhythm going, a little bit of a tempo going. And I think if we're able to do that on these teams, or this team right here specifically, I think we're going to be able to kind of take the game away from them. But we have to be ready to play because this game is unlike any other. It doesn't matter the type of preparation that you do. It's an all-out battle. It's an all-out war, and that's what we look for in this game.
Exactly. And guys, just go into their special teams. Their punter is, probably the, second in the conference, or the average-wise, Bryce Lighton. He's averaging about 42 yards a punt. Their kicker, Blake Glessing, 62 average kickoff. But he's actually number 2 in the conference in field goals, 14 of 19, 73% in field goals. Their punt returner, Taco Dollar, is averaging about 15 yards a carry, or a kickback, or a punt back, sorry. And their kick returner is the Marquis Johnson. And so they've got a pretty good return coverage, or return guys that are going to be going against us. I think that they are a little bit higher than us in the conference rankings and their special teams kick returns, but that's kind of deceiving because no one kicks to our guys.
That one doesn't make sense. I mean, I think, and I really do hope that they challenge that this week.
Oh, I do too.
Because I know in their heads are thinking, we're better at absolutely everything that they can possibly do.
Yeah.
Let's go see if we can kick to these boys and see how good they really are. I think I said this again last week too against Eastern, but it's a whole other deal again. Everything's out the book. The trick plays, the whole playbook is coming out this weekend. We've seen it happen time and time again. Go
ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, when my time there, every single year when the cat I said to myself when we played the neighbors, they came out in formations that were unfamiliar to us. They came out in different, packages. They ran plays that they hadn't ran all year, and so just like we think about them, they think about us, and they're especially coming off of what happened last year. We took them out of contention to win the league championship. We took them out of contention to, be seated a little bit differently. And so because of that, and they lost at our house against our fans, it's a little bit of a bittersweet feeling, especially going into the locker room every day and seeing that trophy and then not being there. It's all that you think about, man. Every time you go through those football facilities here at the university, you have to make sure you get your hands on it one way or another. And so because of that, it's not there. They're coming for everything that we got.
Yeah.
But guess what? So are we.
Exactly. Well, one thing that you kind of mentioned is like just special teams, right? They think that they're better than us. Well, punting it, they're not that great at. So punt return coverage. So that's something that kind of thought I looked at and said, hey, that's a place where if we get the chance, we could go, we can make a difference. Kickoff returns, they're, pretty low in the conference as well. So our special teams, if they kick to us, our punt return and kick return, hey, we could get something going there. That would be electric to have, Malik, tie or go above the kick return record on the neighbors would be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's very doable with this type of talent.
It is
very doable.
Yep.
And so that's why I said I hope they kick it to him.
Yep. Some guys, they'll look on the defense. Some guys to kind of look out for. Callahan O'Reilly is their leading tackler on the defensive side. 68 tackles, 4.5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 4 interceptions. As a linebacker, you got Nolan Askelson, 59 tackles, 2 tackles for loss and an interception. You got your safety Ty Okada, 55 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 1 interception. You've got your cornerback Simon Woodard, 38 tackles, 4 tackles for loss. And then you've got your defensive tackle, Sebastian Valdez, 32 tackles, 10 tackles for loss, 7.5 sacks. So those are those guys that you're going to want to look out for on that defensive side. Like I've said, this defense doesn't scare me as much as the defense did last year. For the neighbors, I think that we can move the ball if we have the guys back that we have.
Yeah.
Hopefully we have Junior back. Hopefully we have Lucas back where we're healthy and we can actually move the ball so we can help our defense out. But they do like to, because they run a lot, they have a time of possession that's not as much as Idaho does, but they're second in the conference for time of possession with 33 minutes plus a game. So because of that, we're going to have to pick our areas that we're going to strike at. We don't want to miss on too many of these where, hey, we just need one more. Well, we might not get one more.
No, yeah, 100%. And so this is why every possession counts.
Yep.
Obviously that's a really basic answer. Everybody always, when they think about the game of football, how do you win? You score more points. How do you score touchdowns? Move the ball down the field. So it's all pretty generic stuff. It's all, pretty well known. Yep. But ultimately that's been our Achilles heel. We've had some really good offensive performances. And then other times we've struggled a little bit. And so being consistently right out the gate, I hate hearing the term, me when I used to play, you guys are a second half football team. That would piss me off. Like, fuck, I want to be a full game football team. I don't want to be a second half football team. I don't want that to be known as what the offense can do, you know? And so because of that, we need to get going on all cylinders right off the bat. Obviously, there's plenty of juice, there's plenty of motivation. Those guys are, ready to go to war. But ultimately, we need to go out there and show it and actually go do the damn thing. And so, there would be nothing sweeter, to obviously, put them in a position where they don't have a shot at the league title anymore. Yeah. They've done it to us, year after year after year, while I was playing there. And so because of that, I'd love to return the favor. It's at the end of the day, it's a game, but it's a lot more than that too, to those kids out there, because that's all that they have. They give up their lives, their familiarities, just to come to a place like this. A lot of those guys are from other states, hot weather states. And so coming down here to the cold weather and going to play those guys up the road, it's a big, big deal for them. And so ultimately, there's nothing more than I want than to see them win and just get an opportunity to talk shit for another year. Because this is the game. It lingers.
Oh, yeah.
We lose to Eastern or something like that. We'll get over it in a week and be like, oh, you know what, that sucks. Okay, we should have won. All right, next. But this is the one for bragging rights. This is the one where you hear nothing. You'll go downtown on a Saturday afternoon, and they'll be like, oh, yeah, you play football. That's great. That's good. That's great. Oh, but the loss last year must have been tough for you. Oh, you remember that play? I mean, I was part of that. I think they made a documentary, "The Miracle in Missoula," or something.
Oh gosh.
When we fumbled it on the 1 yard line.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm there for that game. I mean, I'm never gonna, for the rest of my life, I'm never gonna not hear about that game. And so because of that, it's bragging rights for life. It's bragging rights for this upcoming year. And so, I mean, it'd be nothing sweeter than to have those.
Yeah, and see, that right there just makes me laugh. Not at that, but just that they made a documentary about beating us. It is laughable because, like, honestly, that team that we had to win that, and we did. We had to win that game to make the playoffs. I don't think we made the playoffs that year, right?
Mm-hmm. No,
and so for them to like make a documentary about that is just, it's just laughable, I think, to me, and it kind of shows just kind of how not really in the the limelight or what they're trying to get to, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're making documentaries about beating a team that's trying to get into the playoffs, it's I don't know. I don't think you make a documentary about that, right? We don't make
I don't
documentaries.
know. I don't know, man. It's not like they won the national championship.
Exactly, right?
I don't know, dude, but I got to live with it for the rest of my life. So
Yes.
do you, Adam.
I know. I it haunts me. It does. But the fact that they make a documentary, I just laughable to me. But so let's say, Angel, you think we have to win this game to make the playoffs?
You know what? I don't know right now.
There's been so many things out there that
I see theories about it. I see people chatting about it that say basically we're in the playoffs. This is just a potential seeding kind of game for us. But honestly, I don't know. I think if we lose this game, I think it is a tough case to really kind of vouch for yourself. Being 74, no one's against a winning team, putting yourselves in a position like that. Yeah, the wins that we have had have been extremely convincing to show you that, hey, this is a damn good football team, which we obviously are. But ultimately, man, I think obviously we bring in a lot of money as well, too. Mm-hmm. And so that's another factor in it. Or I would like to think it's a factor, location, viewership, those sort of things. But it's going to be hard to kind of vouch for a 7-4 team, Yeah. I think UC Davis is on that cusp too. Did they lose this weekend? Or they won?
No, they won. So they're going into this game. If they win, they're basically going to be in. So
because they're playing who? Sac State, right?
Sac State, yeah. So if we lose, we're going to need them to lose too, because then we'll be basically right now that there's 6 teams that could possibly get in. Idaho's right at that line too, and if they win, they're in because they've got to win against us, right? Mm-hmm. So if we lose, then I don't know. I just don't know how. I don't know how you would get. I know we bring money in, but there's other teams that are 7-4 that have beat teams that have winning records, right? I don't know how you can put a team in that has not beat a team with a winning record.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I want the Griz to be there, but I also want them to be able to say, hey, we just didn't get in just because people will say that if we just get in just because we make money. I know that this team is a great team and they are a top 10 team. They've had some breaks that haven't gone their way, but man, I don't know. I've also seen, figures on that we're in the top 10 just based off of, winning percentages and all the numbers and algorithms.
That's the tough part about it because it's such a weird place right now.
Yeah.
It's such a weird place. Obviously, do I think we'll have a chance either way? Yeah, I think we'll have a chance either way. I think they'll take a long, hard look at us regardless of what the outcome is. But obviously, we don't want to put ourselves in a position like that. This is a must-win game. I think those coaches know it. I think those players know it, to put them in the best possible position to really kind of take a run at this.
Yeah. Another question throw out there. So, Cats last year lost, right? Lost to us, moving on a run to the national championship. Okay. What would you rather have? A win against the Cats and, not make it to the national championship? Or would you like to lose against the Cats and make it to the national championship game?
Oh, that's always a tough one, but it's not really that tough. I want to win against the Cats. I want to win again. Is that what you would say, or you would go the natty route?
Well, if we win the national championship,
No guarantees on that. No guarantees.
There's no guarantees though. If it's just go to the national championship, you have an
opportunity to go to the national championship.
Yeah. So if it's win the national championship, I'm totally picking that. If it's just go there, no, I would rather beat the Cats because I've got to, those players and I've got to hear it from all the fans, the neighbor fans down here and everywhere that I would go, because I'm still wearing my Griz stuff, man. No matter where I go, I'm wearing it.
Let me ask you this, on a little bit of a different note. Who has really impressed you this year, and who are you looking forward to having a big game this upcoming week?
This upcoming week?
Yeah.
I think Cole Grossman's going to shine, man. I think that he is going to get some of the he's not going to get some of the attention that he should. I think he's going to ball out. I think he's going to do really good this year. I think Levi Janicaro on the defensive side is going to be do awesome as well. He's been having a great season as well. I also think that it's going to be someone on the special teams. I just think that any of these games always come down to the special teams. And so I don't know who on the special teams it's going to be. It could be Trevin Gradney. It could be someone on that special teams unit that's
Trevin. We haven't brought his name up too much this year, man, but he's playing pretty well.
Exactly. So it'll be interesting I just want to, I can't wait for this weekend, man, just because to see our defense go against their offense and some of the things that they have planned, because I know Bobby doesn't show his hand, right? He doesn't show his hand because he likes to save it for this game, right? Mm-hmm. He's not going to show it because he's got things that he's going to do in this game that they're not going to be ready for. And the same thing, like you said, they're going to do things the same thing to us. So it's going to be interesting to see the atmosphere. It's going to be awesome to see with game day being there. I just wish I could get tickets to go to it, man.
Yeah, you and me both, brother, man. I mean, I probably could, figure out a way to finagle some tickets, but it's tough, dude. It's tough for everybody. I mean, $1,400, even if you're not paying that and someone's paying $500, that's somebody's rent right there.
$500 is a lot for me, but that's $1,400. That's a lot too, man.
Maybe not in Los Angeles. Maybe that's just like that's this weekend money or something like that for the people up there. Who knows, man? Who knows? Ultimately, I mean, I think you bring us some good points, man. I'm just really excited for an overall performance. I do think we have some people. I would love to see Jaden Dawson have his best game of the year. I think every single week he's been creeping up. Has been a little bit more of a playmaker, getting a little bit more comfortable with the defense. And I'd love for him to have a breakout game, especially against an offense like that. On the offensive side, I think you said it right on the money. I'd love for Nick to continue down that route of having dominating performances and really kind of establish a really good running. It's easy. Well, it's not easy, but it's easier to run against shitty defenses. But when you play a little bit of a top tier defense, I think it just means so much more. And I think in his mind, he says, okay, well, I've had a couple good games. Any win is hard to get. But this is the one where really we put it all together. So I'd love to see just an overall offensive outpouring from those big boys up front, including Cole, because he gets in there on that blocking too. And so I'd love to see them all have a fantastic day, really lead those guys and carry that trophy at the end of the day, because that's all that really matters, baby.
Well, and I think that they're getting that confidence with the last two games. And if they can do it against a team that has a good defense, I think it would bid them well going into the playoffs that, hey, we can do this. We did it against a good team. We did it against some other good teams too. We got the win on this last one. Let's just go out and keep on doing what we're building off of. And so it'll be really interesting to see this weekend what happens. But I can't wait, man. I can't wait.
And where can you watch it for the fans listening?
ESPN Plus, noon at noon, dead noon, high noon. So
dead noon, high noon,
dead noon. I was like, no, dead noon. No, that's not high noon, right? Dead noon.
What I'm trying to say is get your ass up, watch the game, go celebrate, have a couple of brewskis.
Exactly, or 3 or 4.
There you go.
But hey, man, you want to do a fan question?
Yeah, let's do it. What's up?
All right. So we got Beware of the D, as always, man. Gentlemen, sorry for the absence. The past few weeks, life has been busy. And I'm excited to see how our defense matches up against their offense. I can't see them running all over us, but they execute so well, and nobody has stopped them to this point. The key to this matchup is eliminating the big play. Yes, I think we will be able to contain the run to a degree, but we've been somewhat susceptible to allowing big plays. Totally agree with that. MSU is in a home running hitting team from what I've seen. My question for both of you, do you think we will be able to prevent the big play? If we don't, do you think that the Griz can win a track meet type of game?
I do think that we have the ability to prevent the big play on their side.
Yeah.
As far as us making the big play, if you put us in positions to see if we need to grind it out, fourth quarter comeback, we need, we're 4th and 15. We need to make a big play in order to kind of convert that down. That's where I'm a little bit more questionable. And not because I don't believe that we can't do it. It's just we haven't really seen it, in those kind of tougher games, those closer games, we haven't been able to close them out. Granted, there were circumstances and situations that didn't fall our way, whether it be refs, whether it be positions, whether it be injuries, but ultimately, we haven't seen a whole lot of that this year, so because of that, that is really the big challenge for us to see if it's going to come down to the wire. Can we make those big plays? Can we take it to the next level? Can we get that first down? Can we, drive it into the end zone, wherever the case may be? I think our defense is 100% in a position to stop a big play, especially given them. I feel like they're, they live off big plays. But we're gonna have to see, man. So I believe in the defense that they're gonna be able to stop something like that. It's really gonna be a test for the offense to see if they can, kind of uphold the bargain on their end too.
Yeah. Just going off of the question, do I think that they can stop the big plays? I think they can. I don't think you're gonna have them stop all the big plays though. You're just not gonna just shut them out and just say, hey, you're not gonna get any big plays against us. I don't think that that's what you can do, and I don't think that's what you have to do. You just have to limit it, right? You have to limit their big plays and be able to get some big plays of your own. And so. Do we want to track meet? I don't think we want to track meet because I don't know the health of our quarterback. If we knew the health of our quarterback and he was healthy, I'd feel a little bit more, better about saying that, because I think if Lucas Johnson was healthy, I think, we'll do a track meet against you. I think that we could probably score faster passing the ball than throwing, or passing the ball than them running the ball with our defense. But I think that we just have to be able to limit their big plays and be able to have somewhat of big plays on our side and have our defense bend and not break, and we'll be okay. But no, I don't think just without knowing the health of Lucas Johnson, I can't say that, hey, we want to track meet with this team. I just don't think
that's a good point. That's a really good point. It's all really going to depend on how he's kind of looking come Saturday morning. Because if he's out there running in crutches, it's serious enough for him to use the crutches, and so because of that, we'd love to see him out there and just have the game of his life. But ultimately, that we have a bigger picture to kind of accomplish. When the grand scheme of things, especially kind of going into playoff, kind of realm, and so I'd love to just kind of keep him healthy. If we can obviously have a be 35-0 at half. Let's just do that. Call it a day. Put in the second string, third strings. But ultimately,
that'd be awesome.
That would be awesome.
Oh my gosh!
I don't think we're gonna see that type of game. So
no,
there's gonna be a lot more that we need to kind of be considerate of.
Yeah. Totally. Thank you, Beware the D, for the question. So, but yeah, this is going to be a fun one to watch. You want to give our predictions, man?
Yeah, man, go ahead. Start it off. Did I win last week?
Yes, you did.
Oh yeah, dude.
By 3 points.
Hell yeah.
That last touchdown really got
you gotta bro. You probably have to give me some push-ups or something, dog. I don't know.
Push-ups? I'm already going to give you a 6-pack, man.
Well, you need to get a 6-pack of your own, so we're going to get you on some push-ups too. We both need some.
All right. Well, hey, is it my turn to go or is it your turn to go first?
I think it's your turn.
Oh, crap. Okay, I think this is going to be a close one. I think it's going to come down to the wire. I think I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game. I just don't think that, not too many. I don't think, and I could be wrong. Rivalry games typically aren't high scoring back and forth games, and I could be wrong. I don't see that. I'm going to say, oh man, I'm going to say 24-21 Griz.
Really? Damn. 24-17 Griz.
24-17 Griz. Okay.
Hell yeah.
Damn it, dude. Like, seriously. I've got to ask you a question. Do you always just pick the number that I pick and just be like, let's see, let's play the number spread?
No, bro, that's why we switch it off every week.
Oh, man.
That's why we do it every week.
Oh, so I've got to have them. Oh, man. Crap. I can't get shot out. Like, I know I'm going to lose to you, like, the whole season-wise. I can't come back, right? You're, what, 6-0 against me?
I mean, we'll put it all in this game.
No. I owe you. But I can't go out just 6-0. I got to go out, like, 6-1.
You need one win under your belt.
I gotta have something. I gotta prove something, man.
All right, then, brother. All right. Like we said, guys, this is, the game, game, and so we need everybody to go out there and support. If you're around town, head outside of the stadium, scream from the parking lot, whatever you guys can do to give us a little bit of an edge. It's going to be appreciated because we're going into a tough environment, enemy territory. I love what Coach Houck said this past week, kind of following the Eastern Washington. He says, if I was going to summarize, I'd say that the reports of the demise of the Montana Grizzlies were greatly exaggerated. Ooh, that got me fired up when I heard it. Ooh, that got me fired up. And so ultimately, they have some swagger back. They're feeling pretty good about themselves. I think they've had some really, really good past couple games. And so ultimately it's just time to piggyback off of it because this is a little brother and you guys know how we treat little brother, in the grand scheme of things. So I just want them to go out there, play the best football and, let's see what we can do basically.
Exactly. High noon on Saturday. If you cannot get there, make sure you check it on ESPN Plus. I think the Mountain whatever also has it, Mountain Sports or whatever else has it too as well. So don't miss it. But also cheer on, wear your Griz stuff everywhere, guys. Make sure you're letting people know who you're supporting. Also rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts at. A lot of people are getting us at Apple and Spotify. If you do, make sure that you rate and review us there. That helps us out tremendously to get us farther up the line. Also, we have joined the FCS Fans Nation YouTube channel. Great channel, great dudes. A lot of football. Just not Big Sky. All over the country type shows. They have a national show that I know that they do kind of the weekly preview of what's happening in the FCS. Go check them out. Subscribe to the channel. You can see our awesome, ugly, whatever mugs that you want to see us on. So go check us out, review there. And as always, just, we want to hear from you. If there's something that we're doing that you would like to see or we're not doing, get a hold of us. We have Instagram, we have Twitter at fightonmontana. So get a hold of us.
No, exactly, guys. Like we said, we appreciate the support. We're hoping, obviously hopeful for a couple more weeks of football.
Exactly.
And we just got to go and get the job done, and as always, go Griz.
Fight on.